Don't adjust your sets, don't touch your dials. Ladies and gentlemen, great to have you along for the ride wherever you're tuning in, all around Australia or indeed the world. The platforms of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club and our Week 9 replay of Wednesday night motorsport on a Wednesday afternoon. Yep, you're getting a double dose of legends and supercars today, ladies and gentlemen, in every sense of the word, because we've got a full complement of sprint racing for you from the Hungaroring now in this slot. And then later tonight, we are live, loud, exclusive and free across Facebook and YouTube with Dan Yeaman in the booth with yours truly for the final round of action from the Adelaide Parkland Street Circuit, and will be a super sprint format round for the Legends and a 60-minute enduro for the supercars. Earlier start time, 7:25 Eastern Daylight Time for that one, ladies and gentlemen. So the good thing about all of that is you've got 4 races now and another 4 later on. Good to have you along. Zach Cabe and Adam Lavis with you. Nice to be with you this Wednesday afternoon. We are revisiting what was a thrilling round last week, but it was overlapping and conflicting with other commitments. And the lack of availability of GSRC broadcast personnel, Adam through family commitments, Dan through work commitments, and me not having a producer, got drafted in off the bench to cover the Logitech G Pro Invitational season opener from Sebring. All those circumstances multiplied, meaning that we didn't have a slot to broadcast the GSRC Wednesday night motorsport programming as per usual. So nearly 7 days later, here we are, and we're going to bring you more bang for your buck across the course of this grand final Wednesday for those 2 series. Good to have you along. That's the Hungaroring. That's the state of play. That's the setting, the playground, the backdrop for this penultimate round of the Oz Legends Cup. And we do have 2:40 in the afternoon local server time, 8 kilometre an hour winds in a mostly northerly direction. 19 degrees the ambient, 22 on track. Partly cloudy conditions and dry so far. And this is the state of play. Sam Cullen while I'm at school. How good. And Joel and Hanson, who needs school if you only need to count to 6th gear. Oh, God, it's going to be one of those afternoons, isn't it? Apologies if you can hear over the top of me, ladies and gentlemen, a barking dog in the background. I dare say something's been dropped into the mailbox, so we'll go and check that in about 3 hours' time. Sam Chapman comes into the round with a 54-point advantage over Richard Brookfield, Adam Funslow on 291, and Brett Barker 286. So that tight battle for second will play out feverishly over the course of the next 2 rounds, and we'll update you on the state of play, of course, after these 2 races and what all the permutations are going into that grand finale tonight on the Adelaide Parkland Street Circuit. And of course, it's a 3-race format on that occasion. Hilton Booth on 240 makes up the top 5. Dale Sharp, Ryan Jones, Joel and Hanson, Greg Heaney and Reece Keane make up the top 10. Good afternoon, Adam Lavis. Here we go again, another catch-up. I'm losing count of the amount of catch-ups we've done this year.
Hopefully next season we can hold that back a bit, but it's become a bit of an annoying norm, but we'll see if we can try and fix it up. But it has its pros and cons. A bit more different people in the chat, so we should see how the racing goes tonight. There's been a few people in the Discord over the past week saying they wish it was shown for whatever reasons, so we'll get to now see what they're all talking about.
Absolutely. Brett Barker, Sam Chapman the front row, Adam Funslow, Guy Leach the second, Richard Brookfield and Hilton Booth the third row, Dale Sharp, Greg Heaney the fourth, Brooklyn Brennan and Dane Snadden from 5. Small, depleted field, but as we've seen on so many occasions throughout the course of this season, the Legends have thrown up good racing irrespective of the grid size. Bryden friend Drew Halloran have joined the grid despite not setting a time in qualifying. Righto, we are ready to rock and roll. The first of 2 heats, 15 minutes, 11 laps, whichever comes first here. The famed Hungaroring, home of course to the Hungarian round of Formula 1, and it has been since 1986. Ready to fire, Wednesday afternoon motorsport. What's going on there? Sam Chapman off the line. He's just gone hard left. Brett Barker leads us down the main straight towards turn 1. We've got yellow flags at the top of the screen according to the timing totem pole. Not sure what that's all about. Maybe a new added addition to the broadcast. I'm not sure. Chapman back into 4th spot as they make it to turn 1. Richard Brookfield tucks into 5th. Guy Leach up to 3rd. Adam Funslow the 2nd. But Brett Barker leads them away. Funslow impressive the other night in the Super Formula Lights, of course, at Sebring. And he'll be looking to carry that momentum into the Oz Legends, where he's already won a few races so far this term. Up the hill we go. Off-track Snadden and Bredden, but it was just an off-track alert. They just ran wide onto the AstroTurf there, the other side of the Ripple Strip, and up the hill for the first time. So, good start. Barker, Funslow, top two. Chapman under pressure. Leach is there. Right around the outside, Guy Leach. Sorry, no, that's Chapman on the outside of Leach, I should say. And goes through. But Chapman holds on to third for the moment. So good recovery, but what on earth was going on at the start there? Unbelievable. One of the more bizarre starts I've ever seen. It's a good thing that they're a smaller, compact sort of car, Adam Lavis. That could have been utter carnage otherwise.
It was with the small car, a little go-kart sized car, so plenty of room for the guys to avoid that. But probably would have been a hard moment for El Chapo there.
Indeed. Any idea what's going on with the totem pole? Why that's a yellow graphic now?
No, you don't know.
No, I'm not complaining. I like it. It's just, it stands out now. It's just a bit off-putting. Normally it goes white. We've never seen it go yellow, though. Down the main straight. Barker, Funslow, Chapman, Leach, Brookfield, Sharp, Friend, Heaney, Brudden, Booth, Halloran and Snedden. Snadden, I should say, make up the top 12. And the top three are broken clear. No Ryan Jones on this grid. Of course, he was occupied by Sebring. Racing there for DPR Racing in the Logitech G Pro Invitational. We won't see him on the grid tomorrow night either because he's down for his own personal media commitments for the file and for the Shannon Speed Series opener. I'll give you a little bit of a heads up with regards to that later on, ladies and gentlemen, with how you can go about watching that across the course of the weekend. But in the meanwhile, let's watch to the left-hand side. They go to the right now at turn 5. Side by side, Brookfield under pressure here. Friend up on his inside, Heaney's there too. Friend, no, not able to get through just yet. They're all chasing Dale Sharp right now. A four-way battle for 5th. Invert pole belongs to Hilton Booth, top of shot there for the moment. And we are live, exclusive and free with the commentary, and the broadcast is as live for you, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just joining us, yep, a Wednesday afternoon broadcast. So we've done Monday afternoon this season, we've done Friday afternoon, we've done Thursday afternoon, and now we're doing Wednesday afternoon. We've ticked all the afternoon slots to complement our nighttime offering as well, ladies and gentlemen. We've even done a couple of Saturday afternoons, and next week we tick Tuesday night off the list too, because that's when the Australian Open World Nationals will take centre stage, and looking forward to that. Round onto the main straight we go. Barker, Funslow, Chapman, Leach and Sharp, the top 5. Barker holding on for the moment, but under pressure from Funslow. Will be interesting to see, Adam, because this isn't one of the most polarising racetracks in the world. Funslow tapping, nipping at the heels there of Barker, just poking him along at the moment. This isn't one of the more exhilarating racetracks in the world. It can sometimes give us a bit of a snore as far as racing is concerned. That might have been one of the reasons why we were breathing a sigh of relief when it was the Hungaroring going up against the Logitech G Pro Invitational rather than a circuit where you would expect numbers except for when calendar conflicts occur. And even we're seeing here with the legend cars just how difficult overtaking can be to this point. So it just again goes to show, even though these cars are put on great racing on circuits where some of the bigger cars don't necessarily do so, even they have their racetracks where it's just a little bit hard to actually go door to door. It's still, I think Brad and Friend's still trying to make it work. Really? But yeah, it's one of those tracks. It's kind of like that Barcelona type feel with the old chicane. It's a good sort of test track. It's got every bit of everything, but the way it flows, it doesn't really open up many overtaking positions on track. So it can be tricky. But these being a smaller car, it does make the track wider, which should hopefully, if the guys get a bit of a run, should open up a few more chances. The invert will be interesting to see how they go about attacking that. They won't have pit stops to assist them there. We're on lap 3. We are scheduled for 11, but we're not going to get there. Not at this pace, not for 15 minutes. So we've gone from going too short for time with the lap count to being too far, an overreach, if you like, for the lap count. This will be time certain. It will be time certain at 8 laps, ladies and gentlemen. To the inside goes Hilton Booth. No, not able to get by Heaney just yet. Sharpie's been relegated to 7th. Broden friend Richard Brookfield have got through on him. And Guy Leach is a very lonely 4th at the moment, slowly coming under pressure. Here we go, 3 wide, why not? For the lead, Sam Chapman down the inside. Finally, we're seeing some action here at the Hungaroring, and Chapman goes to the front, making up for that disastrous start. Funslow drawing back down the inside. Chapman tried to close the door, but no, he was too late in trying to do it. Funslow down the inside, Barker there as well. Chapman hung out to dry, relegated back to 2nd. Funslow leads finally. 3 lead changes in the space of a sector of lap 4 of the Oz Legends Cup. Great stuff. Really hard-hitting racing this. And it has been at the front between these 3, Ryan Jones and a couple of other would-be occasional protagonists throughout the course of the season. Chapman, one hand on the championship at the moment, especially while he's ahead of Richard Brookfield. Maybe, just maybe, this will be the one that doesn't slip out of his fingertips, as so many of them have over the course of time. But Adam Funslow looking good for position number 1 and potentially his 4th win of the campaign. He picked up a win first up at the Bend, 2nd up at Sebring, and 1st up at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Trouble for Drew Halloran, now relegated to the back of the field. Dane Snadden moves up to 11th. Good to see him having a run. Good to see an extra couple of bums in seats there, having a steer around that you wouldn't necessarily expect to see in the Legends. All in the name of making up some numbers on a night where it was difficult, for circumstances already mentioned, to recruit the members. Barker into the slipstream of Chapman, into the slipstream of Funslow, down the main straight again. And Barker sits 4th in this championship fight at the moment. 2 Funslow and 2 Brookfield. And Barker and Funslow in a position here to put Brookfield under pressure for that 2nd place. Funslow doesn't have a drop round to fall back on. Barker does. That's the point. Funslow can't afford to put a foot wrong here. Barker to the outside, Funslow to the inside. Funslow will be on the wrong side of the racetrack for the next corner though. So Chapman's been able to cover off what he wasn't able to do last time through and lead them up the hill. We've got a new follower, but it's nameless. The new follower is nameless. Welcome to whom it may concern. Richard Brookfield. It's like our old favourite names on the entry list. To be advised, to be determined, to be confirmed, to be announced. Sam Chapman there in position number 1. Leads Brett Barker. 1st and 2nd are swapped around. Barker pipped him for pole position and had the early advantage held sway. Funslow's fallen off this battle pack. Maybe a slowdown has compromised him. He needs Barker and Chapman to start engaging in battle now if he's to reel them back in. Back we go to Broden Friend in 7th spot. And he's chasing Dale Sharp. Everyone's really spread out now. Drew Halloran to pit lane at the end of lap 5. So he's on the tow rope at the end of lap 4. We'll find out what happened to him a little bit later on the replay, on the highlights. With thanks to Disruptive Labs. And there around the outside goes Broden Friend, trying to get by Dale Sharp. And unsuccessfully so. Supercars to follow, ladies and gentlemen. 3 laps to go here at the Hungaroring. We're not getting to lap 11. We'll probably get 12, 13 laps in the feature, but we're only going to get to 8 here in the opening sprint. Through goes Brett Barker. and to the lead on Sam Chapman. So that helps Funslow out, who's 1.4 seconds away, because if these two squabble and hold one another up in the process, he can latch back on and make it a three-way fight. But at the moment, that's looking like a long shot, and that's the problem, Adam. This is not a circuit where the slipstream is incredibly, telling and beneficial. So you're going to have to rely on your own racecraft and your own individual speed to do yourself any favours.
There you go. You get yourself in position, get the run, and try and get your opponent out of position, so that your run is even more potent to get the move done. So you get show your nose a couple of times, try and get in the mirrors, get them distracted, and then pounce when you can.
Indeed. And we go again. On the inside, Sharpie. Under pressure from Friend. Friend around the outside. Did he get it done? Yes, he did. Rod and Friend to 6th. Nice move, up 5 spots. From 11th to 6th. It'll put him 5th for the invert, the way things are going. Yes, exactly right, Greg. Exactly right. Look at the benefits there. At least we didn't give iRacing any time back. Better value for money for us if we don't, of course. Although that being said, we actually took that time back off them the other night, because we did 10 minutes of overtime at the Nürburgring in the board. So I think the accounts have balanced out there and are square at this point of this campaign. Round onto the main straight, 2 laps to go. Brett Barker will bring us back to the start-finish line, and next time by he'll see the white flag. We'll get about a minute and a half of overtime in this race, actually, which is even better. Chapman, when does he make the move? Funslow's trying to reel them back in. He's back to within 0.6 of a second. Geez, the slipstream is huge on that main straight, but it's really the only part of the racetrack where it's telling, where it's, prominent and going to be of any sort of assistance or play any sort of a part, ladies and gentlemen. You look at the rest of that circuit, there's not a lot of straight line real estate to work with. The side straights, yep, sure, left and right, but they're not anywhere near as long. You don't even reach top gear in these cars. Dale Sharp has got back by Broden Friend, so that battle continues. And Funslow has caught Barker and Chapman. Oh, here we go. Hilton Booth under pressure from Brooklyn Braden. Very nice. Around the outside goes Braden. Thanks very much for coming, he says to Hilton Booth. Enjoy 9th. Careful, boys, careful. 2 by 2 to the chicane. And Booth makes it work to his advantage. Nicely done. Back into 8th. Greg Heaney holds on to the invert pole for the moment. Was that strategic as well, Greg? Was that optimistic on your part? We'll find out when the feature gets underway very shortly. Halloran still sitting on pit lane. He's not going to be classified at this rate. He's not going to complete 75% race distance. Funslow to the inside of Chapman. There we go. Out in pursuit of Brett Barker in his 4th race win of the campaign. And it's important for Funslow to get by Barker with a view to their battle for second in the championship. They're both going to pip Richard Brookfield here, you would suspect. And Garlick just got by Brookfield on that note. And here goes Friend down the inside of Sharp as well to the final corner. Friend and Sharp side by side to the main straight. Leach and Brookfield side by side down the main straight. So too Barker and Funslow. Funslow deep to turn 1. Can he hold it around the outside for the inside at 2? You better believe he can. And Chapman now wants to push him along as well. And Chapman's in the grass. Chapman wedges his way down the inside and creates something out of nothing to go to the lead again. And now they're banging wheels. They've got it all crossed up and somehow survive. Barker back up on the outside of Funslow. As I said, they've got to be worried about that battle for second in the championship. There's only 5 points separating them coming into this round. And they're only 5 and 10 respectively behind Richard Brookfield, who's under tremendous pressure from Guy Leach. And Sharpie back down the inside of Friend as well. Now it's livened up. This is the sort of racing we've been accustomed to all season, ladies and gentlemen. Good to see them delivering in the later stages of this opening race at the Hungaroring. Back down the inside to go back to fourth, and that is likely to prove critical and vitally important with regards to his bid to retain second in the championship. Chapman leads with a sector to go. Has Funslow got something left to offer up in the final sector? What about Barker? I think he's too far back at this point. Chapman may have just pulled a rabbit out of the hat here. Funslow to the outside, look at this. That's a long way round, but if he can hold it, he'll be on the inside for the final corner. No, he can't. Chapman goes defensive on the run to the final corner. Funslow right around the outside. Can he get the up and under or the slipstream, the draft down the main straight? Here comes Barker as well. Photo finish looming, ladies and gentlemen. Chapman's done it again.
Release around.
Championship leader has done it again. Spinner at the back, that was Guy Leach. That's beneficial for Richard Brookfield. Brendan Booth, Heaney and Friend. Oh no, there goes Heaney. Sharpie's had a moment on the final lap as well, so has Bryden Friend. What the hell's happened to those two, please? What on earth is going on here? We'll see it on the highlights in just a moment. My goodness. My goodness. The screen's frozen, but you've got the results there, ladies and gentlemen. That's all that matters. Chapman by 0.2 of a second from Funslow and Barker. Brookfield a long way back in the end. Leach, Brennan and Booth have jumped up to 6th and 7th. Friend and Sharp have dropped to 8th and 9th, and Heaney retains the invert pole. And I'm not sure what happened to Dane Snadden.
I have to pause it before Dane crosses the line, otherwise I lose all my replays for the highlights.
Copy. Thank you. I knew there'd be a method to the madness, Adam Lavis. Well done. This is why you're paid the big bucks, mate. Well done. Oh, wow. What the hell? Jeez. Just when you think it's going to be tame, they deliver that on the final lap. These are the highlights for you, ladies and gentlemen, with thanks to Disruptive Labs. That was Dane Snadden. That explains why he was so far back. That was lap 1. And the field was still trying to sort itself out. And again at the final corner. So at least he's been consistent. And kept it off the wall too. Impressive. Halloran. This was at the chicane at the top of the hill. And caught... that wouldn't have been anywhere near as bad if he didn't collect that inside of the ripple strip. And then Drew Halloran just missed the braking marker, missed the turning point, missed everything. Does a doughy, a 360, and pushes on. And again, and that's the point. There were no real big incidents until that final lap. That was all individual stuff. That was why Halloran got on the tow rope, went to the lane. Righto, now, this is what I'm interested in. Uh-oh. Sharpie around. Oh, wowee. Okay. Sees part for Brennan and Booth, because Sharp and Friend have come undone. Now, was there contact there, or was that simply an isolated incident? We might need another look at that, Adam, if you can muster one up. Let's have a look here. Sharp, deep. Oh, I don't think there was contact. Can we go on board with Sharpie just to verify that? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Oh, no, there was. There was. The slightest bump. The slightest bump from Sharp. Meanwhile, Guy Leach, final corner. He's pirouetted around.
Same thing, hit the back.
Hit the back of Brookfield. Yep. Brookfield lucky not to be unstabilised by all of that, or destabilised. And Greg Heaney, at one point, was looking at 8th. And has done it all on his lonesome. Taking a leaf out of Dane Snadden's book to cross the line. So there we go. 8 laps, 16 and a half minutes in the book for you, ladies and gentlemen. And some almighty good racing. We weren't sure what to expect when we arrived here, but because this is one of those rare instances, like the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, where we don't have, and like Canadian Tire Motorsport Park and like the Adelaide Parkland Street Circuit, where we don't have a smaller configuration to put these guys on. They're on the full course, the only course at the Hungaroring. Righto, we're ready for race 2, invert top 10. Greg Heaney will lead us to green. The rest of the grid will come your way in just a moment. Track and weather conditions look like this, 9:45 local time. March 14, 2026, 5 km/h winds, 19 degrees the ambient, 22 on track, cloudy conditions, 77% humidity. Winds are 5 km an hour in an east tending very, very minorly southeast direction. 77% humidity, 22 degrees the ambient. Ready, set. Heaney, Sharp, front row. Friend, Booth, second row. Bredden, Leach, third row. Brookfield, Barker, front row. Chapman, Snap, O'Halloran, and they're away. Great start, Dale Sharp. He and Broden, Friend, resume their duel. They've taken off. And what about that from Guy Leach up 3 spots? Make it 4 to turn 1. Maybe 5 if he can get a run around. No, he drops a spot on the exit of 1. Greg Heaney tried drifting the last corner earlier on, and it worked. Not so much on the last lap, yes. I would have cut my losses there and said, righto, it worked, but it's not worth trying on a regular basis. Trouble for Sharp. Dale's gone. The Bailey Ladders entry pointing backwards at turn 2. The run up towards the top of the hill now, that little climb up. Brookfield up 3 spots. Leach is the leader, up 5. And Halloran, Snadden have both gained 1. Sam Chapman up 3 spots. There's Brookfield looking down on the inside of Bredden. And Hilton Booth has got a little bit of a gap to his advantage at the moment over Chapman and Barker. Chapman already up 4 spots. Oh, Friend out of shape, out of sorts. They've gathered it up. And now puts Guy Leach under pressure. Trouble at the back. There goes Dane Snadden again. And that time he did get the Armco. I mean, I'm liking our yellow scoreboard. It stands out.
What's it? It's a glitch, though.
Yeah, I know it's a glitch. But I'll take it and run with it whilst we've got it. Not sure the cause of the glitch, but yes.
Oh, trip out blinking.
Yes. Oh! Deep into the corner went Friend, gathered it up. Booth around the outside. They're on the limit early. Leach, Friend, Brookfield. Oh, that's brilliant from Friend down the inside. And what about Leach around the outside? Barker and Bredden and Brookfield. Chapman in there as well. Whoa! Chapman wild onto the main straight. Barker around, he's outside. 2 by 2, the outside lane wins it. Gets the whole shot. Friend and Bredden tuck in behind. They're pushing them along to turn 1. Brookfield to the inside, and Friend wants a piece of both of them. Down the inside, gets into the side of Brookfield, who taps Leach, and through comes Bredden. 3 wide still. Fun's on with the double and bogged it down on the exit of 1. 4 to the Hungaroring. Are you kidding me? Brookfield's going to the lead. This is why we love an invert race, ladies and gentlemen. How good's this? Dane Snadden off and out of the race. 1 retirement down. 11 still out there. Vying for 3 spots on the podium. Vying for precious championship points. Friend was all over the ripple strips there. Lucky not to come unstuck. It hung Guy Leach out to dry. Barker forces his way through on the inside, just creates a gap out of nothing to get down on the inside of Friend. And takes Friend back there with him. Booth, Chapman, 6th, boxed in at the moment. Off goes Halloran again through the grass. Now Dale Sharp's got someone to play with. And this is a 13-lap race, ladies and gentlemen. Just let that sink in for a minute. Down the inside goes Friend on Leach. Finally, some more overtaking. That's what we're all about here on the platforms of the GSRC. Some circuits just don't lend themselves to it. Oh, contact and gone. Wowee, Brooklyn Bredden has just served up Guy Leach something chronic. Funslow gets by Heaney back into 7th. And Bredden's probably got a case to answer for. taken on a date without consent for Guy Leach, and driving with the red mist descending for the balance of the night, you would imagine. Down the inside, that's Chapman getting by Booth. Chapman up to 4th. He's only 2 seconds off the leader. Barkle and Brookfield take off. Friend giving good chase. Booth and Funslow and Breton tuck in behind Chapman. But you're probably ruling Breton out of the fight for the moment, pending an investigation from race control. Down the inside goes Chapman to 3rd. Wasted very little time getting by Friend. Funslow's there, having got by Booth as well. Funslow next target, Friend. Adelaide Parklands tonight, you can just imagine them turning it on for the season finale, and hopefully Adam as well. I know you'll be back on the grid, that's good to see. Hopefully a few others, just because it's Adelaide, just because it's the new real estate. And it could be the swan song for this car as far as broadcast is concerned and Wednesday night motorsport is concerned. Hopefully we see a big turnout for the streets of Adelaide. And a 3-race super sprint as well, which is rare for them too. Whoa, Friend fed grass.
It'll be interesting too. The little short wheelbase car stiffly sprung that second chicane is going to be a bit of a launching pad, so it's going to be interesting to see how they handle that, whether they can absorb that bump or whether they send it to the moon.
Friend, Brookfield, Chapman, Funslow. Whoa! Brendan Breton. No love lost there. Joel Hansen confirming that he'll be on the grid tonight. Ryan Jones will be there as well. So there's another 3. So we're up to 15 already. If the 3 that weren't there last week, Jones, Lavis and Hansen, are all back on the grid tonight. I'm sure they won't be the only ones. I mean, throughout the course of the term, believe it or not, we've had in excess of 40 drivers. We've had 45 drivers line up. For 45 drivers line up for a Legends race at some point or another. That's hugely exciting. If we can get all 45 back on the grid tonight, that would be a sight to behold. Although they'd be starting back up around the corner where MotoGP will be starting in a couple of years' time. Speaking of motorcycle racing, good to see the Australian Superbike Championship today. You may have seen this news, you may not have, ladies and gentlemen, confirming their shift to a summer series for 26-7. Obviously, they've got a shortened mid or half-year campaign wrapping up at the Paperclip just up the road here on the last weekend of June before they shift to a summer series going forward. It'll be 6 rounds. And to think that it used to be an 8-round series is a little bit disappointing that it's only going to be 6. And to think that it's only going to be 5 venues is potentially a little bit disappointing as well. But it'll start at Phillip Island supporting the Australian Motorcycle Grand Prix, the swan song there. Then it will go to the Bend in South Australia, the traditional second stop. December in Goulburn, which is always a good stop on the tour, opening weekend of December. Probably running up against something like the WBBL final or the AFLW Grand Final that weekend. But yes, it'll have good eyeballs on it. Mid-jet. Oh, trouble! Friend had nowhere to go. Bang! Breton's been carved up. Leach into the thick of that crash as well. And Guy Leach's night goes from bad to worse, and he ends up on the tow rope, and so does Brooklyn Breton. Poor old Broden Friend had nowhere to go. He managed to pull it up without getting pole waxed. Same couldn't be said for Guy Leach or Brooklyn Breton. Broden Friend has to come to pit lane, however, so I'm going to hazard a guess that he sustained a mechanical meatball in all of that somehow. And here comes Funslow back onto the tail of Chapman, and they're only a second away from Brookfield and Barker. We could legitimately have a 4-way fight here towards the back end of this race. And Brookfield's no stranger to victory lane either. Grabbed that win at the round in Canada a couple of weeks ago. The Circuit Gilles Villeneuve won the round that night as well. Chapman is doing everything he needs to do to stay in championship contention. I'll go back to my point about the Australian Superbike Championship in just a moment. But yeah, that's unfortunate for Guy Leach. His night went from bad to worse.
It definitely not good for a Guy, especially because I think he's one of the contenders in the championship, being one of the guys always near the front. So, and like like, ironically, both of these incidents involved Brooklyn Brennan. Just
Yeah.
first one, Brennan broke himself and got him, put Golich back, and then he had nowhere to go when Brooklyn's made a little mistake. And they just, unfortunately, they come together twice, and that's not going well. So sometimes it's just not your night.
No, that's exactly right. We've all been there, done that. We know what it's all about. Lap 5, and Brett Barker, Richard Brookfield, Sam Chapman and Adam Funzlo have latched on. And if they can go door to door for the better part of 8 laps here, we're in for some fireworks. Braden Leach still on pit road. Friend went through. Oh, Friend didn't actually register a pit stop, so maybe just a drive-through for him. Maybe incident points or something. That's a strange one because he was definitely on pit road, but it hasn't registered that he's stopped at any point there. Sam Chapman, the fastest lap of the race, 2:03.452. And here goes Brookfield to the inside of Barker. Our first lead change in what I get the feeling might be a few between now and the end of lap 13 if these guys can keep it straight and have a clean fight. Chapman, the fastest lap of the race. Funzlo still looking for a way through. And Barker, not content with being relegated to second. He wants to lead back on Brookfield as they get up to turn 3. Won't get it. Brookfield holds sway for the moment and will lead the field up the hill on lap 6. As we said, folks, about 13 laps this one.
Interesting there, how early in that straight Trapper has to lift because the slipstream's that strong, but there's nowhere to go in that little pinky turn 4-5 area.
Correct. So, and that's a point that I didn't actually think would play as much of a pivotal role in this race as it already, obviously, by evidence has. And that was a little blinky bill from Brett Barker as well, just quietly there, folks. Barker's still all over the back of Brookfield like a cheap suit. But you got Chapman and Funzlo in there, Sharp, Heaney, Booth, and then Halloran, Friend, Bredden, Leach, and Snadden. All going along nicely at the moment. To the right-hander. Brookfield's defence getting a real workout here. But it's good for the skill set, good for the racecraft. Friend, Bredden, Leach and Snadden all out of business. Actually, yeah, Broden has just gone back onto pit road and has retired second time through, so he's done. So we're down to 8. All of a sudden, we're down to 8 out there on the racetrack. The field has sliced in a third.
Funzlo's boxed Chapo in. Chapo wanted to go for a move, but Funzlo was already there.
Chapo had nowhere to go. That GTE worked the other night where Matt Schmidtke and Rodney Golan ended up 4 wide down the main straight with a couple of other protagonists at Phillip Island. That was fantastic. And you could see that Chapo was relying on Funzlo to just move a little bit further across there to give him the space required to make it 4 wide. Funzlo wasn't willing to come to the party. Brookfield up the outside trying to get back by Chapman, but it's very clear at the moment that he's the 4th fastest in the 4-horse race here. He needs to try and stay in contact with these guys some way, somehow. Bonus points if we get stuck in the catch fence at turn 2 tonight, if launched off the centre chicane. Yeah, absolutely. I'm all for that. Although you might have to ask the manager of the points matrix here if he's willing to give bonus points for that. Certainly make the intro highlight reel for term 2, I'd say, if that is the case, Greg. To the old Jason Bright. Forty minutes gone. We're on lap 7. We haven't even completed lap 7 yet. 2:04.9 last time round. Here goes Funzlo on the inside of Barker into the race lead. So, yeah, the pace just not there the way that it was in race 1. but we should still do enough to get a 13th lap started before that 25th minute expires. Drew Halloran off the road, but it's not going to matter Buckley's because he's 33 seconds down on Hilton Booth anyway and running a very lonely 8th. This is the battle that we'll stick with. Greg Heaney and Dale Sharp are having a good scrap for 5th at the moment, but this is a magnificent 4-way fight. Hard to take your eyes off this. It's been this way in the feature all season long. And, I mean, I was just a bit disappointed. Probably the best racing of the bunch was Watkins Glen back in week 1. And I wasn't committed to Wednesday nights until I think it was week 3 I teamed up with, or week 4, one of those, that I teamed up with Yeaman and Lavis for the first time. Oh, here we go. It was actually, I missed Canadian Tire. It was week 4. It was when we went to the Bend. Because week 1, I was committed to the Open, watching the Australian Open as a spectator. Week 2, I had the Logitech G Pro qualifying series invitational call-up because Rankin fell crook or had work commitments or something. And then week 3 was I was hosting the Ipswich Jets season launch here in town. So, yeah, I've been here for the last, 6 now and 7 tonight. But yeah, that Watkins Glen round. Go back and watch that one on the highlight reel on the YouTube page, ladies and gentlemen. It was an absolute breathtaking affair. Australian Open World Nationals next Tuesday night. Then, obviously, we encourage you to tune in on Wednesday night next week when some of our club regulars go toe-to-toe with some of the best sim racers in the country in the Porsche Pro Invitational season opener. And then we're not back in business until April 13th. And we get a little bit of a break and a reprieve, and one we're looking forward to. But as I said the other night, and I said it on air, and I said it to Dale Atkins off air, and it's no secret, because it's Easter, because there's travel, because there's work, provided that there's enough fuel to get me to Bega and back left in the country. Because of all those different circumstances, we're in a position now where, yes, it is a 2-week break from our regular commitments, but the rest of your life still goes on. So you're not actually going to necessarily feel completely recharged or refreshed after the 2-week break, especially you, Adam Lavis, given all the extra work you've done this term. This 2-week break couldn't come at a better time. But at the same time, as we see Barker down the inside of Chapman to relegate Chapman back to second, Funslow wants a piece of that as well, wants to go deep on the inside. Chapman wants to go around the outside. No, Funslow's got the position for the moment. He goes to second, and they've ganged up on him, and Brookfield's back in the fight as well. But unfortunately for you, Adam, as much as it will be nice to have a little bit of time off and recharge the batteries, truthfully, there's not a hell of a lot of time to catch your breath because there's a lot of background work, admin work that everyone doesn't see that's got to go in to make sure that Term 2 gets up and away smoothly on April 13, mate.
Yeah, at some point I've got to update all the new champions into our little database here, so they pop up on this little graphic here. So we can have the people's updated data there. So that's one little thing. And we got all the spreadsheets, update any graphics for any new series that might be coming, do some graphics for first things first, either this afternoon or tomorrow, I'm going to do some graphics for your announcement, so you can actually, people can see what the new cars and car series will be lined up for next season. And then there's a whole bunch of little odd jobs here and there that take it. If you put a sort of a day or two aside, you can knock them over, or you can just spread them out over the break and try and relax a bit. So there's a bit of freedom there, but yeah, there is some admin to do, but it'll get done, and we'll be back up and running by April 13th.
And I'll wait for that second season to get underway. Or by that being said, the slate, the workload is a little bit more loaded next term. If you don't know, our good mate Liam Banks is playing a role in theatrical play production locally there in South Australia throughout the course of Term 2. So he's going to be out of action. He's not going to be available in the commentary box on a Friday night. So I'm probably slotting back in there with Joe when the opportunity presents, although I've already advised the boys that there are a couple of weeks in which I'm just not available, A, because of the Porsches, and B, because of the real-world commentary commitments, taking me to Bega and Grenfell, among other places. Funslow down the inside, trying to get back by Barker, does so. We've got 6 minutes to go, folks. We only just will get that 13th lap underway Lap 10. Chapman and Brookfield have lost contact with Barker and Funslow. 3 to go at the Hungaroring. Geez, the Supercar's got a bit to live up to, given the quality of the spectacle the legends have put on, as per usual.
Also, if it turned 2 lap 1, you told Sharpie he'd be 5th. I think he'd be doing your lap, but you know, and sometimes it comes back to you.
Absolutely. The 0.7 of a second is the deficit that Chapo's got to reel in. I didn't get a chance to mention this earlier. If you're not familiar with Chapo's exploits this term and his success record, did the double in round 3, has not picked up a race win in round 6 or 7, was not on the grid in week 8, but dominated the top half of the season. First in the sprint races in round 1 and 2, the double in round 3, a win in the feature of round 4 and the sprint of round 5. So he had 6 wins out of 10 before 5th, 2nd, 2nd, 3rd and 2 DNRs the last couple of weeks. So when you look at his drop rounds, he's got a 49-point haul to sit back on, rest on his laurels with, back from, where was that? The opening round at Watkins Glen. And it's hard to believe that was the worst round of the season, a 1st and a 12th for him. And he's got a 0. So whatever happens tonight, he's got 49 points there, sitting there ready, if he needs to call upon them, in the hope that that will be enough to get him across the line, plus the 54-point advantage he already had on Richard Brookfield going into this round of the championship. Lap 11, Sharp has got by Heaney and Barker's gone by Funslow back to the lead, and Chapo has reeled them back in. So the back half of this term has been dominated by the likes of Ryan Jones, and although that's the problem, Jonesy hasn't been able to commit to the full campaign, which has taken him out of being in any sort of contention. Adam Funslow's been good in the back half of the campaign as well. Brett Barker, you look at his strike rate, he's due a race win. He hasn't got one. He's got a whole swag of top 5 finishes, 2nd, 3rds, 4ths and 5ths, but no W to show for his efforts so far. Will that change in the next couple of laps here? We shall wait and see. Hope you're enjoying it. Bit of an historic day in the Australian universe, in the Australian media landscape, ladies and gentlemen, because the ABC's on strike at the moment. So the ABC News Bulletin, which is of course beamed right around the Asia Pacific via the Australia Network, for those people that tune in from afar, they're on strike. So no ABC News Bulletin, no normal programming except for the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. So if you're an ABC regular that's looking for something else to watch while the network is on strike, welcome to you this afternoon as well. Here comes Funslow back down the inside of Barker. Not yet. Not yet. Now they're going to be racing to get back to the line here. I'm not sure. Let's wait and see. They're actually all of a sudden pushing it to get another lap in. I think they're going to be just okay, but it could go either way here. Barker to the inside. Funslow, Chapman, around they go. 10.95, 10.96, 10.97, 10.98, 10.99, 11. We're good. Oh, no, White now. White now. White now. Whoa. So we're only going to go 12. And now the gloves are off. Chapman to the inside. Brookfield is, whoa! Funslow around the outside. Barker hung out to dry. I reckon we're going to get back to the line at 24.59 and a half, Adam. That's going to be the problem. We're going to give him half a second back. Funslow to the inside, looking for his 4th win of the campaign. Barker looking for his 1st. Chapman looking for his 7th. And Brookfield looking for his 2nd as well. So everything to play for here, particularly for Funslow and Barker in relation to their battle with Brookfield for 2nd of the championship. And all of them in relation to trying to reel in the deficit they have on Sam Chapman at the moment. Chabo enjoys a nice little buffer. He can afford to not play rough here. Play it safe if needs be. Put yourself in the position to go to Adelaide and wrap it up on home turf tonight. Through to go, final time. We're only going to get to 12. Unbelievable. That race pace just not there. 203s, 204s in this second race compared to the low 203s we saw earlier in the night. And all of a sudden, yeah, it's going to be like 24 minutes and 59 seconds when they get back to the line, which I reckon would have been good enough for an extra lap. But anyway, Barney's decided to throw it early. Lap 12, the final of the feature. Here goes Funslow defensive. Barker around the outside. Chapman wanted to go with him now. Chapman's under pressure from Barker. Brookfield's just sitting back lonely in fourth, waiting for it all to blow up ahead of him. Chapman down the inside, holds on to second for the moment. I think Funslow's got this one. I think Funslow's in a safe enough position here. Round to the final corner we go. Main straight, checkered flag. Surely Funslow's getting this done. Fourth win of the season for Rd-9 Motorsport. No, he's won. He's won. He's put it in the wall. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? He had it locked and sealed and cocked it up on the final corner. He ends up smashing the wall and bouncing back onto the racetrack and finishing fourth. He snatches.
There's a shake of the head.
Yeah, absolutely there is. He snatches defeat from the jaws of victory. It was looking good for his fourth win of the campaign, and all of a sudden, it blows up in his face. And Chapman edges out Barker by 0.05 of a second to do the double. What the hell? He had it all there for the taking, Adam Funslow. And as soon as he got off the final quarter, I was worried that he might have got a slowdown, but then the car's just gone all out of shape on him. Off those ribble strips, the rumble strips. It sent him hard left, smashes into the concrete. Lucky that he was able to limp it across the line. What the hell? But have a look at that. Have a look at that. It gets even worse to add insult to injury. He copped a post-race penalty, didn't he?
That'll be it. Because he's going so far. Because he's going so far off the track there, it would have given him a slowdown, which he hasn't cleared before the finish line, which is straight when he comes back on the track. So that's where he's got stung there.
What the hell? Chapman wins by 0.049, and Brookfield is only 0.3 further back. That's a big leg up for Brookfield in the points race, really, in terms of trying to retain that podium position. Sharp, Heaney, Booth, Funslow, and Halloran. Halloran finished a lap down in all of that. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. I didn't actually get a chance to have a look at where the clock was because there was so much going on. I still reckon it was 24:59 when they hit the line, and I'll go back and have a look at the replay to verify that. I thought they were very unlucky to not get that extra lap. Someone, Ryan Jones, someone bottled it harder than me at Donington. Yeah, exactly. No, you're not off the hook. That was in the rain. So I've now got a rain version of butchering it on a final lap from the lead and a dry version, Jonesy. So you're still very much there in the commentary context, mate. Oh, geez. We'll see you tonight on the grid for the season finale on the streets of Adelaide, mate. Go well. Some highlights for you now, folks, with thanks to Disruptive Labs. Race 2 of merch.tgsrci.com. Oz Legends Cup Racing. The 18th race of the campaign from the Hungaroring. That was Guy Leach getting stonewalled, really, by Brooklyn Breton. And Hilton Booth, unlucky, slipping and sliding through at the top of the hill, where it goes, it jags just to the right and then hooks back left very quickly. To the right-hander there, that was the incident for Brooklyn Breton, and, oh, jeez, Guy Leach with nowhere to go. Broden Friend got caught up in all of that. How did... Oh... Now, Broden, more to the point, can we get a look at Broden? Because he's just given Breton a clip there. So I'm wondering as to how that's all played out and he's ended up on pit lane. And then the second incident, here he is, off the road, how he has then ended up. So here's the incident here for everybody to see. Down on the inside of Chapman, that's all good and well, that's fine. But what's given him the mechanical meatball or resulted in him coming down pit lane the first time through? Here it is. So Braden, see Friend there, just the slightest touch on the left wheel and no contact after that. So his exit from this race was a strange one. I thought it was weird when he entered pit lane in the first place, Adam.
He doesn't jump the start, doesn't it?
No. Strange one. Very strange. Oh, poor old Adam Funslow. That's the double whammy. Drew Halloran, that was his spin. He ended up a lap down in all of that. And then friends come in. Did he miss his box? No. Oh, jeez. What the hell? Halloran again. Same spot as before. But this time onto the grass. Now, more to the point, we'll have another look at Funslow in a moment, I'm sure. It wasn't fun for him because the slowdown hurt more than it would normally, because it was the last lap, because he didn't clear it. And Halloran just making sure that he visits every piece of the real estate that he possibly can. Final corner, here it is. Oh yeah, he was all crossed up and out of shape. So he would have already got the slowdown before.
There's no slowdown yet. He gets too much gen on here, overcorrects it. Now, because he's so far off here, he would have got to slow down for this.
Yeah. Got it before it even left.
But he had no time at all to serve that.
No. Hooked before that car even got out of shape and hooked him left into the concrete, he had the slowdown. So it's not because he's hit the concrete, it's because he was in no man's land before it. Toycam88, yes, this was last Wednesday, week 9, mate. A replay for everyone that missed it because we had no broadcast personnel on deck last week to do it live. And that was Adam Funslow, bang. Oh, it hurt on the concrete. The hit on the concrete hurt more than anything, and then he gets across the line and the Funslow podium run undone. A, he crossed the line in 4th, and then B, he gets a 45-second invoice because he wasn't able to clear the slowdown in the remaining 50 metres of the car race. Wowee. Righto, so that has been a game changer because Chapo has come out and done what he hasn't been able to do since round 3 and sweep the night. Which is a magnificent result for him. Jonesy, the only other sweeper of any night so far this term, I believe I'm right in saying. Actually, no. Yes, Jonesy's done it twice. Week 6 and week 8, and now Chapo's done it week 3 and week 9. So Chapo's doing it in multiples of 3, and Jonesy's doing it on the weeks that are multiples of 2. I like that. And actually week 6 is also a multiple of 3, so there you go. Oz Legends Cup point standings going into tonight. It's not yet a foregone conclusion, Adam Lavis, but it's pretty bloody close. Once you take those 49 points and put them on to 416, that's 465.
Yeah, there's 120 points through the sprint. Because it's 30 for the first 2 races and 60 for the feature. So then plus bonuses. So
Richard Brookfield would have to have the perfect night, wouldn't he?
Yeah, and Shep would have to have a shocker. But it is a possibility that it'd be pretty rare for Chepo to throw away a lead that big going into a final. So it's going to be a bit of a mountain for Richard, or in fact even Brett Barker only 4 points behind. Well, actually,
or even
all Funslow the same points.
Yeah.
So Chepo's got 3 people with a relatively equal chance of chasing him down if he doesn't put some points on the board tonight.
Everything would have to go right for him, for those guys, in order for them to do that. And it would have to be 1 in and 1 chance, because if Barker books Brookfield's perfect run or Funslow does it, then it all comes unstuck. It has to be one of the 3. It can't be all 3 of them mounting an assault. It just won't work that way. It has to be one of them. Back your favourite, ladies and gentlemen. Brett Barker's had an all right run. So that points battle, that was 10 points between 2nd and 4th going into the night. It's 4 points coming out. So it's narrowed. It's tightened up significantly. And Adam Funslow has lost out in that because of that 45-second invoice he was dealt at the finish line. Unbelievable stuff. So don't worry about the rest of them, quite frankly, because it's a foregone conclusion. This is a race in 4 and it's a race in 3. for the final 2 spots on the podium. So all will be revealed tonight. Now remember, it is a super sprint, so it's 10, 15 and 25, the race distances tonight. It means that we are on air earlier. 7:25 Eastern, 4:25 on the West Coast, 9:25 in New Zealand, 15 minutes earlier than we would normally be on a Wednesday night when we are doing the broadcast live. 15 minutes earlier, and Toy Cam Barber's special day. Thank you guys, means quite a bit. I'm going to need some more context with regards to Barber's special day, mate, just to understand why it's so special for you, with regards to the fact that we are doing the broadcast at this point in time, if you don't mind providing more context, that is. But we appreciate it nonetheless. We're at 10 minutes past 3, 11 minutes past 3 on the East Coast, 11 past midday on the West Coast, 11 past 5 in New Zealand. But again, as I stressed earlier there, 7:25 tonight. The Supercars still kick off at 9 o'clock. Everything remains the same, but we start 15 minutes earlier to accommodate that extra 10-minute race. So looking forward to that. Races 19, 20 and 21, and a new champion to be crowned in the Oz Legends Cup. Right, we're taking a break. We're here with thanks to Trophi.AI, the great people at merch.GSRC.com, Flash Graphics, Disruptive Labs and Waste Options. This is Wednesday afternoon motorsport, the first of a double-header today on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and it's all in on sprint racing because we're going sprint racing again on the other side of the break. The Supercars from the same venue and round 9 of their season with thanks to Trophi.AI as well. So stay with us. We're far from done. It's great to have you company. The platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club on a Wednesday afternoon. Good to have you along wherever you're tuning in all around Australia or indeed the world. This is our as-live replay of round 9 of Trophi.AI Supercar Championship coming to you from the Hungaroring, of course. The same venue that played host to a captivating and very intriguing and exciting penultimate round of the Oz Legends Cup a few moments ago. Later tonight, they're off to the Adelaide Parklands for 60 minutes. Right now, it's the final sprint round of the campaign races 12 and 13 of the season, and we're very excited to be bringing it to you. Some context, and I'm going to nip both in the bud here before we go any further, and that might have been a poor choice of words on my part, but you know where I'm going. We had the context come through as to why it was a special day in the Barber household. Their late father and grandfather, it would have been his birthday today, so we're thinking of the Barber boys. No doubt they'll go out and look to do him proud tonight, pay tribute to him in the grand finale. And also on that note, and I'm going to say this now before I forget it later, I had a message come through from our good mate on the Central Coast there, Jake Slade, earlier today to say that unfortunately he's a late out tonight. Unfortunately, the workplace that he obviously is employed in, they have a funeral to attend tomorrow. One of their own, unfortunately passing away, took his own life last week. So in order to do him justice and pay tribute to him and pay their respects tomorrow, the Thursday workload is being split across Wednesday and Friday, so there'll be a bit of a backlog there, and therefore they are putting some extra miles in today to get some extra work done to take tomorrow off and pay their respects. And then, of course, back to business as usual on Friday. So as a result of that, unfortunately, that means that Jake won't be on the grid tonight. He will be tuning into the broadcast, I'm sure, at some point. We're thinking of you, mate. We hope you're doing okay, all things considered. And, of course, if anybody else out there is doing it tough, thinking along the same lines with regards to what we've just spoken about, Beyond Blue, Lifeline, they're all there. Reach out, have a conversation. We talk about it every September when Are You OK Day comes around, but really it's a year-round issue. So it's always important to remind everybody that the lines of communication are open should you choose to engage with them. You've got to take that first step yourself, though. Nobody's going to force you to do it. So, with that said, we'll take care of the heavy stuff. We'll move on to the racing. We press on. And it's 3 minutes past 2 server time here. Qualifying underway for the Supercar Championship. So I'll worry about the track and weather settings in just a few moments' time. But it is a 4.3 kilometre race course, this one. Of course, recently, as 2002, it was extended by about 400, 500 metres. That run down to turn 1. That used to be very similar to the final corner of the racetrack, a 180-degree long sweeping right-hander. They extended the circuit at the end of 2002 for the 2003 race. It meant that the 77 laps became 70, and this configuration has been in play ever since. First joined the Formula One calendar in 1986, and of course it's been a nice addition to iRacing in the recent past as well. A technical circuit, a good test circuit, as Adam Lavis said a few moments ago, but obviously one that makes it very difficult to go racing door-to-door in the bigger cars, like the supercars. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here tonight. This is the final sprint round of the season. This is how the point situation looks going into the round. The Trophi.AI supercars, the elite split. Jace Douglas holding on to a slim advantage here at the moment. Luke Page is charging home. Jake Slade was always going to be a long shot before having to miss tonight because he didn't have any drop rounds to fall back on. We'll see what he put on the board for week 9 in just a few moments, obviously. Tzikis there in 4th. Buchanan ruled out with commitments in the Logitech G Pro Invitational. Dane Snadden, 215. Craig Bond still yet to pay up his membership. Sam Chapman, of course, too busy looking after politics in South Australia, etc., etc., etc. You know what I'm saying. Good to see, however, the AITX Revolution E-Racing brigade out in force. Good to see that they have filled the grid in a night where the Logitech Orbit Drop Bear stable were committed elsewhere. 37, I want to say, points first to second at the moment. But the problem that Jace Douglas has had in recent weeks has been that he hasn't been able to net the top end of town finishing results. He needs to make the most of tonight and the depleted field to set himself up to somehow scrape through and secure the title tonight. But Luke Page is the one that stands in his way. The open split, the dev split, Adam, if we can have a look at that, please. There it is. Terry Marsh on top, and he's bound to be going straight up to a lead as soon as this season's done, ladies and gentlemen. He's on a one-way train to the top split. At 3:49 plays Andy Barber, 3:33 Nathan Michael, 3:08 so too Ryan Barber, and Kurt Normanson 260 points, 2:43 for Dale Sharp, Marcus Hankey 2:25, and Daniel Snedden on 167, Adam Lavis 164, and Eduardo Zamora 124 make up the top 10. Here we go. Ready to fire. Heat 1. Sprint night at the Hungaroring. The Enduro to come later tonight. Super Sprint racing from Phillip Island tomorrow night in the Porsches. That is live in all markets around Australia, 8:55 Eastern Daylight Time. A 90-minute Enduro from the Circuit de la South on Friday night, 8:25 Eastern Daylight Time for the GTE finale. And, of course, the GT4 finale on relay around Australia about 11 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night from the Nürburgring for 60 minutes. So it's a big week ahead. 3:30 local server time, 8 km/h winds, 19 degrees the ambient. Those winds are in a northerly direction, 56% humidity, cloudy conditions, 21 on track and dry so far. Jake Slade, Johnny Bannock. How good was he in commentary last Thursday night? That was a great debut from Johnny. He's on second on the grid there. Good to see him back in the rig, actually, after some injuries sustained in the off-season, trying to be Andrew Gaze. Luke Page and Sam Cullen, second row. Terry Marsh, Jason Douglas, third row. Alex Tzikis, Ryan Barber, Dane Snadden and Andy Barber make up the top 10. And then back to Kurt Normanson, Aaron Smith, Dale Sharp and Jake Cowman. Ready to fire. The big V8s will roar around the Hungaroring here. There you go. Toy Cam saying the irony is he's from Hungarian parents too. So there's a little bit of member connection, if you like, to the playground for this evening. Good to have you along. We'll take you through till about 4:30 Eastern, ladies and gentlemen, by the time we get through this, the highlights and the look ahead, plus the points update as well. 45 minutes worth of racing ahead of us. The first heat's 15 minutes, and it begins in 3, 2, 1. Off and racing. Slade bogged it down. Barrett got a good run on the inside. Cullen got a magnificent jump on all of them. Look at Sam Cullen raging down the inside. He wants to lead them at turn 1 and will do so. Hard on the brakes. In behind. Douglas has slotted into third spot. Now make it second on the exit. Bannock bogged it down on the outside at 1, but has the inside run for 2. And will kick into second, third gear a little bit better and get through into position number 2. Terry Marsh watching from work. Shield coat. Good on you, mate. Thanks for tuning in. Alex Tzikis wide at turn 2 as well. Douglas off the road briefly. Slade into 4th. Page needs to get a good wriggle on here. His target tonight is Jace Douglas and nobody else. With a view to that championship fight, going to the Adelaide Parkland Street Circuit next, tonight really, in a few hours' time. No, thank you for giving us the heads up with regards to the information regarding the Barbers. We do appreciate that. I'm going to assume Toy Cam's the handle, so I'm going to assume Mrs. Barber is passing on that information, so we appreciate that. Sam Cullen, Johnny Bannock, Jason Douglas, Jake Slade, Luke Page, Ryan Barber. Dane Snadden's been passed by Andy Barber. They are exchanging blows at the moment. Barber up on the outside, Snadden the inside and rubbing doors. And up on the outside of them is Terry Marsh now, wanting to throw his hat into the ring. Ryan Barber, the early leader of the Dev split at the moment. Terry Marsh, second. Or actually, is Andy Dev split? I can't tell at the moment because he's lit up in green. Down the main straight we go. Actually, that's important. Top 5 are all elite split. Have a look at this. Barber in 8th spot, chasing Snadden now. Thank you, Adam Lavis, the little pointer at the top of the screen there. I appreciate that. Doesn't help because we're still... Yeah, there it is. That's what I was looking for. Bottom of the screen. I needed to look bottom left corner, not top left corner. Bottom left corner for Andy Barber. So yes, he is the second of the Dev Split runners at the moment, meaning Terry is third. Terry Marsh is the third of the Dev Split runners right now. That's what I was trying to work out for myself. At 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Elite Split runners, 7 Dev Split runners tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Nice 50-50 split down the middle. Sorry, there's so much bloody information to try and interpret and comprehend here at the moment, so that was a minor slip on my part. I'm looking at the 2 leaderboards. I should have just looked for the ident on the bottom of the screen. Everybody at home had it worked out well before me. Down the inside, here we go. Douglas under pressure from Slade. Slade gets the elbows out, but still can't find a way by Douglas. And that's the perfect illustration of how difficult it is to pass on this part of real estate, on this circuit. Any part of the bitumen around here. And Curtin Robinson, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you as well. Poor old Adam Lavis had to put the feelers out, put the call out because he wasn't in the server himself this time round. He had family commitments of his own last Wednesday night, so he had to put the feelers out to try and get hold of a replay so that we could stream this bloody thing in the first place. And Curtin Robinson came to the rescue, so we do appreciate that, mate. Good on you. We'll no doubt catch up with you later tonight after the live finale from the streets of Adelaide. 4 minutes gone. We're on lap 3, and still we're sitting in yellow. Johnny Bannock wide on the exit of 2, giving good chase for Sam Cullen at the moment. Douglas back on the podium and not to put too fine a point on it to upset the minority of the comment thread, Adam Lavis. But for Douglas, this is the first time we've seen him in the top 3 since the second race at the Miami International Autodrome. And he was lucky actually with that one. He only finished 11th on corrected order at the end of race 1, got a 10-second penalty after the fact there, so was part of the invert and took full advantage of that the night where the orbit drop air stable imploded. And Kurt Nomson, if I don't throw it away driving poorly, yeah. Oh mate, feel free to stop in and have a chat with us anyway. Super sprint night, super sprint night for the legends. 60 minutes for you guys, plenty of airtime to fill. Yaman and I will have a good yak as per usual. And of course, the post-race show hopefully won't run as long as what it did the other night. Oh my God. Adam and I were here till the very early hours of Tuesday morning. If you hung in for the ride there, ladies and gentlemen, we do appreciate it. And even Dale Atkins and I sat here having a chin wag for about half an hour after the broadcast, which was good fun. Main straight, another lap in the books. So Douglas third at the moment, +3. Slade -3. So bogged it down off the start, hasn't been able to recover. That's the problem at the moment, I guess. Because Douglas is doing a good enough job to make life very difficult for Slade in the context that he hasn't been able to execute an overtaking manoeuvre or create an overtaking opportunity at this point. There's Barber, speaking of overtaking opportunities, down the inside of Terry Marsh. Can he get it done? No. Marsh will hold on to head up the hill in 9th still. It's good work from Ryan and Andy Barber. 6th and 10th at the moment. Ryan's the leader of the open split. And Andy is third behind Terry at the moment. He's been the dominant force of this development split so far in 2026. Term 2 for these guys kicks off Wednesday, April 15. Live, exclusive and free across Facebook and YouTube, the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. I'm looking forward to it immensely. Just bear with me a moment here, folks. So, I'm pretty believe it. The family chat threads just exploded, but it's all right. I was thinking something might have gone up in smoke down there, but no, it was just my sister thanking the other sister for the family cheesecake that got delivered to the house. So that's sibling love right there. Very good. Hello to my sisters. I'll see you in a couple of weeks as well. This is And Ryan Barber under pressure, trying to get by, trying to contend with the pressure mounting from Dane Snadden and Alex Tsitsikas, I should say. He doesn't necessarily have to worry about these blokes because they're elite split competitors, not dev split. Under no immediate threat for his lead in the dev split at the moment. Page goes by, needed to do that actually. Page needed to get by with a view to chasing Jake Slade and Jason Douglas, the two blokes that he's up against in the championship. But since then, Barber's been able to keep Snadden and Tsitsikas at bay. And Tsitsikas down the inside wants a piece of Snadden and gets it. There you go, something created out of nothing. Lap times in these cars about a minute 50. So 2 is 3:40, 4 is 7:20, 6 is 11. 14:40 gets you to 8. 9 laps, I reckon we're going. 9 laps in this opening. Just. It's only 15 minutes, so we've only got a 20-second window there to play with. I think we can scrape a 9th lap in. It's definitely 8, so 14 minutes and 40 seconds. Tsitsikas, 7th at the moment. Dane Snadden, Terry Marsh, in behind him. Closest battle on the racetrack is the one you're watching on screen. Douglas still under pressure from Slade, however. And Page is trying to reel them in. That's a nice new little addition to the graphics package at the top there, Adam.
I think it's always been there. I just noticed it. I was trying to find any controls to try and fix this yellow flag situation, but nothing has come up.
Andrew from Mimzo or Mim50 M1MS. I'm going to say that's one of those handles that I can't quite interpret, but apparently the mathematics is all right. It's not my strong point. I say that regularly. I do cock it up occasionally, but no, thank you. Appreciate that. So yeah, looking at 9 laps potentially here, folks. Sam Cullen, the leader, and clearly 2 seconds on Johnny Banach, who has 4.5 on Jason Douglas, who's under serious pressure from Jake Slade and Luke Page. Ryan Barber still sitting 6th at the moment. He's gapped Tsitsikas, Snadden, and now Terry Marsh has caught them as well. Again, Marsh actually needs to try and find a way by these guys with a degree of urgency because he can see Ryan Barber up there in the distance, and that would be a positional battle, but he doesn't want to get caught up in incidents with the elite boys when he's a dev split competitor. Oh, look at that, down the inside, that was forceful. Did he just try and get by Dane Snadden? Yes, he did, but it was unsuccessful. That was a good little bow peep, actually. Dane Snadden not having a bar of it. Losing contact with Tsitsikas at the moment. Now Marsh is what he's got to contend with. Or who he's got to contend with. Because I think the ship has sailed on him catching Tsitsikas right now. And Tsitsikas will try and find a way by Ryan Barber. But that's not worked for him yet. It really hasn't. 8 straight, another lap in the book. Cullen, Banach, Douglas, under pressure still from Slade, but still managing to keep him at bay. We had 14 starters, we've got 14 still running. 36 seconds covers the field. Oh, there we go. Oh, it says we're under caution. We're not. The safety car's not on the circuit, folks. Just disregard that for the moment. On the screen there. It says we're under caution. The yellow flags on the leaderboard.
That was always there. It was just hidden by the. I've got rid of one colour and I'm trying to get rid of it.
Yeah, fair enough. That was a full yellow screen there with black context, black writing for the longest time, ladies and gentlemen. The only thing we don't have in iRacing, we haven't seen it yet, is a red. We don't have reds. We have every other colour, but we don't have reds. it was interesting. I had regular Rob Hill slide into the messages today because I said, "Oh, this is great. Here comes Tzikis. Tzikis forceful on the inside, trying to sweep around on Barber. Barber under the pump here. Tzikis right out on the ripple strip, and Barber holding on. But it's creating a bottleneck here. They're ganged up behind him. The pressure is mounting. And Marsh is loving this because Tzikis wants a piece of it, wants to go by. Barber does so. Hip and shoulder if you don't mind. It's inviting Terry Marsh back into the fight from the leader of the Dev split. Round the outside, contact and gone. There goes Tzikis snapping up on his inside, and we've got a real race igniting here, folks. A real battle brewing. Unbelievable drama. But you can tell the pressure's on. But you can tell that Barber's under the pump, and he's not the fastest in the battle pack here. He might be the leader of the battle pack, but he's not the fastest in it. Because Marsh going for a gap that's not there, and he goes too deep and bowls it wide at one. What the hell? The pressure was mounting because the freight train was growing in size. 2, 3, 4, 5 cars now involved in this little bottleneck. And that's Tzikis going back down on the inside of Snadden. Snadden, of course, was on the defensive from Marsh. Marsh went through the middle, missed his braking marker. Goodbye. Back he goes to third now in the Dev split behind Andy Barber. It's a Barber 1-2 in Hungary in the Dev split. Snadden down the inside of Tzikis. Millimetres in that, but they're clean and they get away with it. They're on the limiter. How good's this? Bannock, Douglas, Slade second, third, fourth. The margin first to second 1.3, but then it's 5 seconds between first and third, and 4 between second and third. So it's a battle in 2 at the front, and it's a battle in 3 for third. Page has caught Slade and Douglas. We can't take our eyes off the battle for 7th outright, though. Involving Alex Tzikis and Dane Snadden. Snadden back down the inside, not game enough to dive bomb. And now we've only got 1 yellow flag at the top. I love it. I love your perseverance, Adam Lavis. It's great. No, it's interesting. I've lost the thread of what I was saying there a few moments ago, folks, but we don't have Reds, and I was talking to Rob Hill this morning. I sent him a reply. He said, St. Petersburg's not looking all that good, to be honest with you. We did get a 9th lap bid, so we're on the run home. The white flag in the 8, you may have just seen that there, folks. Barney's got his flag out and is waving it. It's good to see him on deck for a change, actually. He missed the South Australian round earlier in the season. Because I said I was looking forward to St. Petersburg launching on iRacing. He said, narrow racetrack won't be very good for overtaking. Depends on the car you take there. I'd suggest that if we take the MX-5s, the Formula Vs, the Formula Fords, even the SFLs there, I reckon it'll be great. But yeah, the bigger cars, you might struggle with the Porsches, with the supercars even. You may struggle just a little bit. Sam Cullen found his way to the front, +3, and even though it's a school day for him, can't take his eyes off watching a race replay in which he's going to be victorious. Unless he does an Adam Funslow in the final corner and throw it away. That's what it's going to be referred to from now on, by the way, Adam. If anyone spins on the final corner, they're doing a Funslow. If anyone spins in the wet on the final lap, they're doing a Jonesy. I've worked it out.
Is there any chance
I can still cover both.
Any chance here of Slade upsetting Douglas and getting a 1, 2, 3 for the team here?
Wouldn't it be great for Slade if he was able to do that? Great performance from Sam Cullen. Johnny Bannock gave good chase, but it's Cullen's race to win. Last turn, checkered flag, and Sam Cullen joins the winners list. Very nicely done. Victory lane for the first time this season in Trophi.AI Supercar competition in the elite split. Third, the Douglas held off Jake Slade and Luke Page. That was vitally important for Jace Douglas to do that with regards to the championship fight. Ryan Barber, Alex Tzikis, Dane Snadden, Andy Barber and Terry Marsh make up the top 10. The 2 Barbers, 1 and 2 in the Dev split, and Terry Marsh in for third. 52 seconds covered the field in the end. Aaron Smith, a very lonely run to 7th in class. Jake Cowman, 6th in class. Dale Sharp, 5th in class. Kurt Normanson, 4th in class. They were 14th, 13th, 12th and 11th outright on track. Terry Marsh, unlucky. But actually, to be fair, lucky at the same time, Adam, because had he not got his timing right down there at turn 1 and picked the gap, there could have been 2 or 3 cars caught up in an incident, and that would have been an invoice for him as well.
Indeed, it could have been. It's never good to be stuck in a bit of a kerfuffle there at turn 1, but they managed to get through and got the points on the board.
The race highlights for you now, folks. Race 1 or 2 done for the afternoon. We've got another one where that came from for you in just a few moments' time. It'll be 25 minutes in length. And that was Aaron Smith, the first of a few slip-ups for him throughout the night. Oh, no. Had to sacrifice himself. With Jake Cowman there on the inside, and how lucky was Cowman to miss him, actually, quite frankly.
That's pretty much it. Everything else is just a 1 second off track here and there, so I think that's pretty much a very clean and tidy race by the boys.
Yep. Makes race control's life a lot less difficult than it would normally be. So why not? Let's just fire straight into race 2 and get this done, because at the end of the day, you've got dinner to have and race setups to prepare for Adelaide tonight for your own racing exploits. It'll be good to see you back out on the track, mate, in the Legends and the Supercars. It's been a sporadic sort of campaign for you because of broadcast obligations and family commitments, so it'll be nice to see you back out there tonight, and it'll give us about 3 hours to turn it around. We'll have a break, we'll catch our breath, we'll have some dinner, we'll tidy a few things up, and we'll be back into it, ready for... Oh, hang on. What's going on there, please? Ready for race number 1 of the Legend cars at 7:25 Eastern Daylight Time tonight. 10 o'clock local server time, 11 km/h winds, 19 degrees the ambient, 84% humidity. 9 km/h winds in a south to southwesterly direction, 18 degrees the ambient, the on-track temperature, cloudy conditions and moderately wet. I can't see any rain falling. Is that a misreading on our part from iRacing, or what's... No, there is rain in the... Yeah, righto. There has been rain pass through. And it's dampened the circuit, so this is going to spice things up substantially for race 2. Terry Marsh, Andy Barber, they get the invert front row. Dane Snadden, Alex Pizikis, Ryan Barber, Luke Page, Jake Slade, Jace Douglas, Johnny Bannock and Sam Cullen. Watch for Cullen off the start. Can he repeat the heroics of that whole shot he got in the opener? We'll wait and see. Belmanson, Sharp, Cowman and Smith make up the field. The track doesn't look damp. We're reliably informed that it is. You can see a little bit of water off the surface to the runoff area on the left-hand side. Again, now you can see the spray as they get underway. Penultimate race of the season in the Trophi.AI Supercars. We're 3 wide on the run down towards turn 1. The Barbers get the whole shot. And Jake Slater's torn his way through to be position number 4 at the first turn. It might be third in a moment. Up on the outside, rubbing doors with Terry Marsh, and he goes to P3.
What a start by Slater.
Pizikis is off the road. It's a slip and slide, all right. Have they been throwing a sucker here? Are they on dries or are they on wets? We've got no way of telling.
That's going to have to, the boys are going to tell us because
they have to be on wets.
Because unfortunately replays don't tell us. So they look pretty. They don't look like they're too slick at the moment. There might be some guys at the back might be in trouble. So some guys might have missed out.
That doesn't look as wet as what it is showing on screen. The actual surface doesn't look as damp as what it actually is when cars go running across it. Maybe that's something to do with the bitumen. I don't know. Yeah, it's very off-putting. As soon as it said moderately wet, I said, what the hell's going on here? Dane Snadden has lost track position, so to Aaron Smith. I would hazard a guess that they may have taken dries off the outset there. No idea what you're talking about, says Greg Heaney. Okay, copy that. Oh, there they are again. Snadden and Smith.
So there's definitely some strugglers at the back who are definitely on slicks. But what iRacing needs to do is they need to work on the white walls or the tyres to give us like a different coloured sticker on the wheel so we know from just without using graphics.
Dane Snadden on the tow rope. Okay, now you can see what we're, yeah, okay, now we've got enough evidence there. Depends on the angle, depends on the shot that we've got and the reflection and a few other things. Just depends on those variables. Because sometimes you look at a circuit, even though the sun is shining here, that's what's probably a bit off-putting. Round on the main straight we go. No, one of the boys was sick of wet racing by the end of last week. They had it in the Supercars, they had it in the Porsches, they had it in GTE. Happy to see some dry weather this week, I'm sure. Down the main straight we go. Obviously, the lap times here are going to plummet outside that. Whoa! Terry Marsh. Good catch. Good catch. Douglas struggling down in 11th spot at the moment, so I think he's done himself no favours there. I think he started on dries. Dane Snadden on the tow rope has parked up and retired. Aaron Smith on the tow rope. Jace Douglas to pit lane also to get some to get some wet tyres. So, yeah, there's been a few people that have been caught out by that because, yeah, I can't think of the right word at the moment, but deceptive is the word I'm looking for. It is a deceptive sort of look on that circuit there. Is this the normal Supercars race? Thought it was Adelaide, and is this earlier than usual? This is the replay. This is a replay of last week for those of you that are just joining us. This is the first time you're seeing it, so it's an as-live replay because the commentary and the production is being done live. The vision has been fed in on a one-week delay, hence why we're earlier than usual, because we wanted to put round 9 to air before round 10 takes place tonight at the usual time of 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Tzidakis to pit lane, Douglas to pit lane, and Snadden out of the race. Aaron Smith still showing on pit road as well. So, yeah, it's deceptive, Adam, because it certainly didn't look as wet as it is when Vision first came through.
In terms of the front straight, whatever the bitumen is, doesn't really... depending on what angle you look at from the start line boom camera there, it looked all right. But obviously, most of the boys realised they got the right tyre on, but a couple of guys have been caught out. And so it's definitely the two JMR guys. I'm assuming Dane Stanton as well, and quite possibly Aaron Smith. He's a bit hard to tell because he hit the toe. But yeah, at least 3 or 4 of the guys on the wrong tyre at the start of the race, and that's going to cost them for this points tonight.
Yeah, and it's particularly telling because we were just talking about how important it was for Jace Douglas to hold off Luke Page and Jake Slade, and now that's all gone up in smoke. Yep, so later tonight, it was icy even with wets on is the advice we're getting from the 6-1 stable.
Yeah, well, the track's freezing cold as well. That's basically
18 degrees.
Yeah, like 18, 19 degrees air temp is the lowest iRacing will let you set. So that's as cold as it can really get in iRacing service.
Page and Bannock. Bannock taking no prisoners. Going through to position number 5. Ryan Barber leads. The dev split driver still leads this race. Right, that's sinking for a moment. Slade is second, Cullen is third, on the track to do the double.
And it's good that...
and they've got a splash and dash to do as well, Adam. Sorry, go on.
And it's good for Johnny, too, that he's managed to recover his injury and get in the last 3 or 4 rounds here, because he gets to finally represent his 01 plate for winning the dev split last season. So he actually gets to represent before it comes off the car after tonight.
Exactly. And the other thing as well, there will be a pit stop, but based on what we're seeing at the moment, you won't be taking dries. There'll be no transition period in this race. This is going to be a holeless, soulless, bowlless 25-minute wet race. I don't see any conceivable way in which you could justify going to... hello again, Terry. Thank you. Appreciate that. Just for the clarification, I saw you mention who it was earlier. I didn't see the handle earlier in the piece. Apologies, mate. Good to have you on, though. Terry Marsh, not Terry March. I think Bacchus Marsh, think Rodney Marsh. Not the month. Round onto the main straight. Ryan Barber, Jake Slade. Important for Slade and Page to make hay while the sun shines here, or doesn't, quite frankly. And with it only being 2:05, 2:04 lap times, you're not getting more than 30 laps out of the race, but you might only ever get 12. You might only even get 12 out of this. Slide to the inside. Whoa! Have a look at the standing water on the edges, on the verges of the racetrack. There's aquaplaning potential there as well.
Well, that was a perfect example.
Right all over the back of Barber like a cheap suit at them.
Yeah, that was a perfect example of where the go-kart line comes in. Is Marsh got track, Slady got track position, but he put Ryan out on the wide line, which just had more grip, so he got in the power and drove off. There is no grip there.
No, there's none. Absolutely none. And now Sam Cullen wants a piece of it as well. Wants to do the double tonight. Not good in the wet, though, is the advice we're getting. Yeah, no, I think we're seeing substantial evidence of that right now. I will take that. At one point, I owned fastest lap of the race. My night was complete. But no. Oh, dear. How good. So Ryan Barber, Jake Slade, Sam Cullen, Andy Barber, and Johnny Baddock, the top five at the moment. Luke Page in sixth. Big chances here for Luke Page to set himself up for a crack at the title tonight on the streets of Adelaide. But again, we'll need everything to go right for him. It is to displace Jace Douglas. Normanson, fast slow the race. There it is, 205, 204.83 in fact. Jace Douglas and 205.83 for Normanson. So that's interesting. A bit of a disparity there. Normanson the 205 and Douglas the 204. Douglas and Tzidkas have already been to pit lane. That's the other point too, Adam. If we're only going 12 laps, can they get 11 out of the tank, or are they going to have to make a second stop? Who knows? And they've probably done enough damage to their chances anyway by starting in sixth in the first place. So I don't think they're going to factor in the equation anyway, irrespective of whether they're going to make a second stop or not. And a second stop just add insult to injury.
I think with the track being wet and therefore using less fuel, there's a good chance they might be able to stretch it, but they would have lost so much time on those wet dries in the opening lap. Now they're going to be very hard pressed to try and bring that back to undercut these guys once they do their compulsory stop.
How good's it been so far? Barber off the road. Bannock gets through. Bannock up into fourth, chasing Ryan Barber now. Got by Andy, next target Ryan. Ryan and Andy still remain 1 and 2 in the open split.
Kurt Lodos, he had 2 fastest laps.
Yeah. 204.830. So Douglas did the 204.830 and Normanson did the 204.830. How about that? So yeah, grand final tonight. 7:25 Eastern. Supercars kicking in 5 to 9 Eastern Daylight Time, and a full 60-minute enduro, 2 compulsory pit stops on the streets of Adelaide coming your way. It's been a good correlation this campaign. Off goes Luke Page. Off goes Luke Page.
That's big for the championship.
That's massive. That is huge.
He had a big chance to get some points back on Douglas here, and it's put it in the key litter.
They've slipped straight out of his lap, straight out of the grasp. And unfortunately for Alex Tzidkas, he's another 13 seconds further back on Jace Douglas. So any hope of Douglas slipping further behind Tzidkas there to do Page some favours has fallen by the wayside. Wowee. That's a massive chance gone begging for Luke Page. Andy Barber to pit lane to complete his pit stop. We're on laps 6. It's only 12 in this race based on the numbers we're crunching at the moment. And that's a little bit of overtime too, folks.
So the track is slowly coming to them, as you can see. We've now made our way through the 4-second barrier.
Correct. And Slade with clear air, so too Cullen. Helped by the fact that they've got by Ryan Barber and Andy Barber's gone to pit lane. So the two teammates lead the way. To be fair, as much as Cullen would love to do the double, his teammate's been here far more regularly this season, has a race win to his name already, would love nothing more than to end his campaign. He probably didn't know at this point that he was going to be ending his campaign at the Hungaroring. He would have loved to have been on the streets of Adelaide, Jake Slade, but he would love to grab the race win here. to finish on a positive note. He probably will lose third in the championship tonight because of not being here, because you would expect the likes of Will Buchanan to come back onto the grid tonight, and you'd expect Tzidkas to turn up again. That was Luke Page with his second off-track excursion. So it's just gone from bad to worse for him. Ryan Barber, third place outright at the moment, leader of the Dev split. Looking forward to having you tune in tonight, folks. And then tomorrow night, 8:55 Eastern, 5:55 on the West Coast. And of course, Friday night, 8:25 Eastern, 5:25 Western. A big grand final week on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club.
All the RER boys need now is for Ryan to pit, and they can have the top 5 for a temporary spot on the grid here.
Exactly. Let's screenshot that moment. Only 3 Fords out there. And 10 Chevs. Aaron Smith, the last of those, because James Nathan in the 11th has already parked up and retired. Slade to a 203.911. A 203 Porsche. That time through. Owen sits second. Barber third. Banach, Marsh, Nominson, then Page. Then Barber, Sharp and Cowman. The other costly part of that invoice for Douglas and Tzidkas was that they had some extra time on pit lane there to grab the tyres. So they were on pit road for 12 and 11 seconds respectively. Andy Barber went in and was out in 4 seconds. Gone. See you later. Jeff Adams with some moral support there for Luke Page. Yeah. Very tame. It was lively in the early stages this race, but it's tame in the back end. Still only 5 laps to go up the line. You would imagine? Because there's that compulsory pit stop, splash and dash transit window to incorporate into the mathematical equation here. We're back to lightly wet. Oh, Terry, you're not supposed to deliver spoiler alerts. And speaking of spoiler alerts, there's Ryan Barber off the road. Banach will look to take full advantage of that. Not able to do so yet. And Terry's latched onto the tail end as well. Round onto the main straight. Terry's into pit lane. And to be fair, as far as his aspirations are concerned, I mean, I'm looking at the points as they were coming into this round. He had 16 points on Andy Barber. So that's going to tighten up a little bit. But still, bag a finishing result. Bag those pair of thirds. Set yourself up for a win it or bin it scenario tonight on the streets of Adelaide. That's what you need. I'll tell you what I'm going to need, another bloody coffee. We've still got another 6 hours ahead of us this afternoon. Don't have any time for a nap in between either. Unfortunately, before anyone suggested, as much as I'd probably like one. Up the hill we go. And 15 and a half gone, 9 and a half to go. Right on board with Johnny Banach. The AITX Revolution E-Racing entry. He's only half a second behind Ryan Barber, but he's wrestling the car at the moment. He's fighting with the steering wheel. Disregard the top of the screen there, folks. We are not under caution, despite what the screen is saying. SDK. Just once I'd like it to work seamlessly for the entire broadcast out of them. Jake Slade, Sam Cullen and Ryan Barber, the top 3. We're riding on board with Johnny Banach, who's third in class right now. Still half the field yet to stop. Dale Sharp plus the top 6. Luke Page, the last of those at the moment, 22 seconds down the road, and Jake Cowman just coming off pit lane right now. The overspray was brutal, yes. Well, we saw that in the Porsches last week. But then again, the rain intensity and the rainfall was just equally as brutal there as well.
You know, as I mentioned to you guys off air after the broadcast, that final lap, the rain got so heavy at Nürburgring in the Porsches that our front tyres were back to being stone cold. We had no front grip.
Yep. Sam Cullen, Ryan Barber, pit lane. Here we go. 3 pit stops coming up now as Slade clocks another, 204.320 that time round, and Bannock comes through 7 seconds in arrears. Cullen, Barber, Nominson and Page all on pit road right now. I'm not sure what you'd go in favour of, Jeffrey, quite frankly. And just think about how much work you'd be putting on poor old Adam Lavis's shoulders if we were to ditch SDK, where all the infrastructure's already been set up and has been for quite a while. Since term 1 of season 1. And we're now at term 20, we're in season 24, term 1 of 2026.
Yeah, it only generally plays up in these replay streams, which is not designed to be doing. It is designed as a live timing system, and obviously we're not live.
Hence live timing in the link, yes. When everybody tunes in.
So we're using it for purposes it's not designed.
Oh, Jake Slade on the ragged edge there at the moment, hanging it out, having a good run.
Remind us if the Barber guy's still in the chat, if you could remind us, because I believe these two are father and son. If you could remind us which one's which, so we can.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah,
so we can take a note for future reference. If
Grandma's tuning in, Grandma Barber, if she's tuning in at the moment still. If you're still there, who's father, who's son? Who's winning the family rivalry at the moment is what we're chasing the information on. But no more evidence required to even ram home the point, ladies and gentlemen, that even Barber boys did well. Yes, absolutely they did. Terry, Income, Jake Slade and Johnny Bannock at this point in time. What's interesting for mine with all of this is just, and Slacks Creek's not too far away from my part of the world either, but what's interesting for mine in all of this, and by when I say my part of the world, I mean the slow and steady state that's currently on a 112-year and 1 hour delay to the rest of the eastern seaboard. I couldn't miss an opportunity to get that dig in. Daylight saving, of course, finishing next Sunday morning, Easter Sunday morning on the eastern seaboard and in South Australia. And Queensland will be letting off fireworks at 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to celebrate actually getting to 2026, which will be good. Yes, Adam?
Interesting, even with Jake Slade setting all those fast steps in a row, pre-pit stop, Sam Cullen's managed to undercut him and come out in front.
Yes, yes. Terry knows what I'm talking about. He lives in this part of the world as well. Quite old day in this part of the world, actually, to be fair. I have got an Ipswich joke that I cannot repeat on air. Sam Cullen's off the road. Cullen's off the road. There he is, recovering now. Oh, dear.
All that pit work gone to waste.
Game-changing moment. All that hard work undone, and a potential double up at the Hungaroring, slipping through the cracks. And there is Terry Marsh, the aforementioned Terry Marsh, right now on screen, third in class. Ryan and Eddie Barber continue to lead the way. Aaron Smith now off the road as well. Redbank Plains. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm familiar with that part of the world. I've travelled out there a couple of occasions to have drinks with colleagues and the like. And always go past the exit to Redbank Plains on the way out to the likes of Goodna. And when I'm travelling through to go towards the exit, take me to the Gold Coast and back to New South Wales. Yeah, lovely. And not a bad road, not a bad drive actually between here and there. 20, because I'm over in Raceview for the context, the aptly mentioned and named Raceview for the benefit of those who are wondering. In context to Terry, it's not too far. And you've got another R suburb by the name of Ripley in between as well. It's quite amusing. I was saying there earlier, we saw the two barbers side by side on screen. We talk about motorsport being a family sport. Same applies to sim racing, ladies and gentlemen. And as you can see there, the boys have banded together and running pretty much duplicate liveries. So further evidence to support the point. Just wanted to mention that before I forgot. So yeah, creeping up on 10 past 4 Eastern Daylight Time. Our mates on the West Coast, I feel so happy for them too when all this gets reverted next Sunday morning, because they won't be starting their racing at lunchtime anymore. It'll be during afternoon tea instead from term 2. It'll be good because we'll go back to a 7:25 start time across the board, and it will be 5:25 on the West Coast. So a little bit of an opportunity to actually start the commute home from work before the night actually gets underway, which will be great.
I got a message on Discord and made me miss Terry Smith.
Andy is the son and father of Ryan, my grandson. So Andy is the father and Ryan is the son of this combination. So at the moment, Ryan's got the bragging rights, which is what we were trying to work out. So youthful exuberance winning out over experience at the moment. Oh, Barber under pressure from Sam Cullen on the comeback trail, looking to make it an AITX Revolutionary Racing 1, 2, 3. Oh, contact and gone. Off they go. There it is. And now all of a sudden, Andy's going to have the bragging rights. Look at the rejoin. Cullen had it all hooked up the wrong way and somehow still managed to get away with it, and he's boxed in the meat of a Barber sandwich right now. It'd only be more fitting if their surname was Butcher. Down the main straight we go. Cullen's still sitting there in 5th spot, trying to get back to 4th, down the inside of Ryan. And Andy's got a magnificent leg up in all of this. Cullen goes back to 4th. Now I'm interested to see which way the family warfare is going to go here. If Ryan can return serve and get back by Andy, he's still got to contend with the onslaught of pressure from Sam Cullen at the moment, but unable to do so. Whoa, there's a contact. There's a little bit of a bump and rub. Ryan somehow manages to grasp control of the race car and not loop-de-loop it. Somehow managed to drag that back from being all crossed up and all out of touch. There's another bump and rub from Cullen coming. What the hell? White flag right bottom of the way, and that's all crept up on us because all hell broke loose here. So the Gremlin stable are going to deny the AITX boys a clean sweep of the outright podium, but it's still going to be a class podium for them in the elite split, pending any post race for Sam Cullen, of course. Oh, there you go. So more context there. Mike Barber ran at Archerfield back in the day. So there you go. We appreciate the context there. Looking forward to tomorrow night for the final round of the Porsche Cup. Yeah, good on you, Jeff. So are we, mate. Super Sprint round, Phillip Island. Never disappoints, especially with a little bit of wet weather in the mix as well. What about this, however? Jake Slade celebrating all the way to victory lane, and he's going to bring Johnny Bannack along for the ride. A team 1-2 photo finish opportunity, and Sam Cullen's going to line up alongside them. They'll go 3 by 3 across the line. Well, they know they had a perfect photo opportunity. Not going to happen. Across the line goes Andy Barber for second. For the third on track and first outright in the dev split. Holds off Ryan Barber, so it's a Gremlin 1-2 and Terry Marsh in for third, Kurt Nommensen fourth. What about that, eh? Slade gets the job done. Redemption for race 1. Bannack, Cullen, Page, Douglas and Tzikis. And how lucky was Luke Page to be able to recover there on the final lap. And what actually happened to Jace Douglas, we didn't actually see. Because really, he didn't have to make a second pit stop, but he didn't do enough to overturn the deficit. So Page has been able to come in despite the 2 mistakes, despite the 2 hiccups, and still get the better of Douglas in the race to the line. Oh boy. So the championship fight will still be alive going into tonight on the streets of Adelaide, but Douglas does go in with the advantage. Slade, Banach, Barber, Cullen, Marsh, Normanson, Page, Sharp, and Douglas, the top 10. Even split of 5 and 5. Andy holds off Ryan and can thank Sam Cullen for that. Was there any action taken on Cullen for the contact, the involvement in that incident, or not? I wouldn't have thought so. Let's have a look, see here. There's the updated championship points for you, ladies and gentlemen. Sam Cullen, no further action. And if we can go back, can we just go back to the result sheet there, Adam Lavis, just to verify? In the end, he had 15 seconds. He had miles on Luke Page anyway, so even a 5-second penalty wouldn't have made a rat's rectum of difference. Jason Douglas leads with a 39-point advantage. So coming into the night, it was 37. He's managed to put out an extra 2-point advantage on Luke Page. Slade won't be on the grid tonight. Tzidakis moves up to 4th, Snadden up to 5th, and Sam Cullen up to 6th on 231. Will Buchanan wasn't on the grid for reasons already explained, nor were Bond and Chapman, nor was Tyson Broad, again tied up with the Logitech G Pro Invitational, just like Jones, Ratu and Blacklock were as well. Johnny Banach, 2 rounds, and so far 94 points to show for it, and up into 14th, and nothing to suggest that he won't be able to move up into the top 10 at some point tonight if he can score enough points along the way. Oh boy, how about that? Development split, Terry Marsh, 7 points the advantage there on Andy and Ryan Barber. So they are looming large. They're posing an ominous threat to Terry. And he's bid for Dev supremacy. But I've got a question for you, Adam Lavis. Completely, off the cuff, with no notice whatsoever, no warning. If Andy and Ryan manage to beat Terry tonight, does that mean they're getting elevated up into the elite split as well?
The promotions aren't like based on results. It's just all paced. It all depends where they pace up.
All right. Well, it'll be interesting to see because we know Terry's going. we know he's on a one-way track to the elite split.
We don't know. It's most likely given his pace. But we haven't. We've still got to do the calculation. Yeah, we get, it's a safe bet, but not guaranteed.
Yeah, exactly. Put your house on it. No, don't do that. Gamble responsibly. Terry Marsh leads by 7 points to Andy Barber, and it's only a 31-point covering gap covering the top 3. Andy's only got 24 on Ryan, who's on 369. 16 back to Nathan Michael, who wasn't on the grid. Kurt Nomson 305 and Dale Sharp 286. And then a whole host of drivers that weren't even out there, so let's not even bother. Let's wrap this one up relatively quickly, folks. Give ourselves about a 3-hour window to work with to get some other stuff done before we come back and join you live for the Legends at 7:25 Eastern Daylight Time. Plenty more highlights in this one, I would imagine, considering the nature of the racetrack, the state of play, and the slip and slide action that we saw out there. That's where it all started for Alex Tzidakis, and it only got worse. That's the runoff area. The track's over the other side, and unfortunately got done by the puddle next to the ripples, triple the rejoin. When it rains, it pours, doesn't it? And Jace Douglas, okay, so Jace Douglas, whilst on the slicks, had that spin, so that put him well out of contention. And again, on the back of a strong finish in race 1, he was only able to manage 5th there in race 2, 4th on points for the round. 58 for Sam Cullen, 55 for Jake Slade, and 57 for Johnny Banach.
Oh, he's overthrown on the ribble strip and lost the front.
That's it. Yep, caught the puddle. Hitting the gas on the ribble strip. Dane Snadden went out in sympathy with him at the same time. There's the front end gone. See you later. Caution for debris. Luke Page in 3rd. There's the slip and slide through. This was...
Microplane pulled him to the right.
He just went straight on. The brakes did nothing for him. Wow, that's a bizarre one. But I guess the saving grace is he was able to keep it off the wall. This was the second incident. Good recovery in the end to finish in 4th place. But he lost that 2 points, so the championship is further slipping out of his grasp. And an 7-point difference for Terry Marsh over the two Barber boys going into the final round. 7 first to second and 31 first to third. We continue on here, folks. We got to lap 12 in the end. So 9 for race 1, 12 for race 2, 21 laps in total. Good racing in the Trophi.AI Supercar Series. That was Terry Marsh, a slip and slide. I don't know if we caught that live, Tez, but there you go. You mentioned that it was going to happen. There it is live on replay for you. Kingston had the only retirement in that second race too, ladies and gentlemen. So overall, a good consistency finishing rate tonight based on previous weeks. That's it, is it? Done? Perfect. Lovely. Let's wrap it up and get out of here. You must be looking forward to going and having a tear around the streets of Adelaide tonight, mate, and the legend of the Supercar.
Yeah, legend I haven't using. The Supercar, hopefully the setup we can find is better, because we, at the start of the season, as the team for the Aussie Racing guys, we used Adelaide as our sort of photo platform.
Yep,
and I had the Supercar, and yeah, it wasn't the best around there, so hopefully the setups have been fixed since then. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the legend goes. It'll be good to get behind the wheel tonight and have a bit of a lap.
Indeed. Thanks for your efforts this afternoon, mate. Really appreciate that. And I know it's been a regular occurrence for us throughout the course of this season. So I think I'm right in saying that this is the last replay we have to do, and this is the last time we get to work together for Term 1. So thanks for all your efforts. Enjoy the break. Good luck with the racing component of Grand Final Week for what's left of it anyway. And speaking of which, we do it with thanks to Trophi.AI, the great people at merch.tgsrci.com, Flash Graphics, Disruptive Labs, and Waste Options. In no particular order there, of course, ladies and gentlemen. The way they appear on your screen is where we start on the running list. Disruptive Labs, of course, the naming rights sponsor of the club. They usually start at the top of the handwritten list that we have in our kit bag at the start of the term. We hope you enjoyed that replay. It seems as though many of you have enjoyed tuning in and hanging in there for the ride with us throughout the course of the afternoon. We appreciate that. We don't normally get a chance to disrupt your Wednesday afternoon this way, but nice to be able to keep you entertained for the last couple of hours. Thanks for spending it with us, and now we'll let you get back to catching up on whatever else you had to do today, or maybe some of that's already on the back burner for tomorrow. I, personally, can't wait to go and do the weekly grocery shop, and that'll be tomorrow. It was supposed to be probably today, yesterday, but work has derailed that. So tomorrow, without fail, because I'm running low on milk, it'll be a trip to the shops for yours truly. So looking forward to that. Not necessarily looking forward to dealing with traffic and the rising fuel costs, and et cetera, but still looking forward to getting out of the house. That's what's ahead for you tonight on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, ladies and gentlemen. Dan Yeaman and I are here from the earlier times, 7:25 Eastern Daylight Time, 4:25 on the West Coast, 9:25 in New Zealand. Hope you can join us for that. The Oz Legends Cup finale, that one will be live in all markets around Australia, but it's a super sprint format, 3 races instead of 2, 10, 15, 25 minute the lengths thereof, and that will be the championship match point for Sam Chapman. Then, can Jace Douglas hold on, or will Luke Page snatch victory from the jaws of defeat? Join us for the season finale. Same goes for Terry Marsh and the Barber boys, actually, in the Dev Split. Both the titles are on the line in the Trophi.AI Supercar Championship finale. A 60-minute enduro from the streets of Adelaide. Strategy comes into the mix there as well. 2 compulsory pit stops throughout the course of what's supposed to be, or set to be, a mesmerising hour, and you can guarantee that because it's Adelaide and because we're not up against the Logitech G Pro Invitational, there will be a few would-be cameo appearances from the ranks of the members of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club from within the cohort and the alumni here. So we're looking forward to that, and just to see who pops their head out from under the woodwork to have a crack, have a steer on the streets of Adelaide tonight. And what sort of a role will they play in making, breaking or shaping somebody else's championship aspirations? All those questions to be answered tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 60 minutes the journey there. Now, a note before we go over the page. Season 2026B, Season 25, the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club, comes your way from Monday, April 13 through until Friday, June 19, I think it is. Again, maths is not my strong point, but I think I've got that right. Monday, April 13. I'll be live with you from Cessnock for whatever it is alongside GT3. Stay tuned tomorrow night during the broadcast. Andrew, Neil and I will have the privilege, I believe, of unveiling the slate, the offering for Term 2. Between the Porsches and when we start our coverage of GT4. And if you want to get involved, either as a sponsor or as a competitor, race.GSRC.inc is where you go for all the relevant details and information, and also there you'll find out how to get in contact with our magnificent committee and crew. And as far as the rest of Grand Final week is concerned, let me start with Saturday night and work our way back. Grand Final night for the Mountain Men will be a 50-lap decider. 300 kilometres, 310 kilometres of Mount Panorama, 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time. We saw that on a Monday night. It's somehow been shrunk by 18 laps between Monday and today, but I believe it's still 50 laps. So a Mount Panorama venture on Saturday night for Mountain Men. The car of choice will be determined by the Wheel of Fortune spin on Friday night, and hope you can join us for that. Above it, the reason we're here on Friday night will be Liam Banks and Joe Baldwin steering you through the final round of what's been a really well-attended and really competitive season in Disruptive Labs GTE, 90 minutes around the Circuit de la Sarthe, Le Mans, France. And we look forward to that 8:25 Eastern Daylight Time. And of course, tomorrow night, burn the midnight oil with us, ladies and gentlemen. Get the coffee brewing. Andrew, Neil and I are with you from 5 minutes to 9 Eastern Daylight Time for the Super Sprint Grand Finale around the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit in Victoria. One race at this stage being broadcast from each of the three splits. So that's a bit of a staggered start for everybody, because the AM split will start at 9 o'clock, the Elite split will start at 10 past, and the Open split will start at 5 past, just to ensure that there's a 5-minute window between race 1, race 2 and race 2, race 3, so that we can get between servers, ladies and gentlemen. So we're looking forward to that tomorrow night on the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club across Facebook and YouTube. And then, once we're done with the post-race show, updating the championship points and unveiling the slate for Term 2, we will go back and revisit the season finale for Disruptive Labs GT4 from the Nürburgring in Germany. Just the Grand Prix circuit, or the World Endurance chicane configuration thereof. That's the only change literally between the two configurations. That will be 7:30 Eastern Daylight Time, 60 minutes the journey, and it'll kick in somewhere after 11 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, the replay of that. But at least it's the same day broadcast. There haven't been enough of them this season. That'll be number 3 out of 10, so the strike rate's poor, but we're hoping to rectify that for Term 2. So that's all of what's to come here in a big and busy Grand Final week on the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. 310 kilometres of Mount Panorama to finish it off on Saturday night, and then everybody will enjoy a 2-week break, except if you've qualified for the Australian Open World Nationals. I'm going to try and chase up more information regarding that this afternoon. Australian Open World Nationals Tuesday night. Our friends from FDL and SRW here to go up against our Open World Best, led by Dan Yeaman, of course, and that will be what are we up to now? The 7th instalment of the Australian Open World Nationals. That'll be live in all markets around Australia on Tuesday night, March 31. A move in a bid to avoid a clash with Easter, of course, and travel around that. School holidays on Thursday onwards. And of course, the Porsche Pro Invitational getting underway on the Wednesday night. So Tuesday night, a bit of a special one for us. We're not normally on air on a Tuesday night. We will be on this occasion, and we hope you can join us for that around, it'll be either 7:30 Eastern Daylight Time or 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. More information coming tonight or tomorrow at the very latest. We're done. Anything else, Adam?
I think that's about it.
Good. Well done again. Appreciate that. Some lively racing at the Hockenheimring. The Legends have been brilliant all season. The weather certainly spiced things up in the supercars. The championships both up for grabs when we go live tonight from 7:25 Eastern Daylight Time, and Chapo's already got one hand and four fingers on the Legends title. He probably just needs to cross the finish line in race 1 to secure it. On behalf of Adam Lavis and all the crew here, Zach Capen bidding you a very good afternoon. Part 1 of our Wednesday Motorsport doubleheader done and dusted. We'll see you in prime time for the grand finales live from the Adelaide Parklands, the virtual street circuit this evening. Until then, have a great afternoon, everybody. Bye for now.